Good morning and welcome to Talking to Introverts. I'm Denise Oliver and my fellow introvert is,
Hello, I'm Sami Blackford.
and we are partway through a conversation that we would really like to include you in. And this conversation has begun, and we're going to backtrack a little bit and then take it forward with you as our company as well. So the conversation has started, as often happens with Sami and I, when we've seen something or heard something. And I happened to mention to Sami, oh my God, I was scrolling through Instagram, Facebook, I'm not sure where, probably Instagram. I don't do any other platforms, so it's got to be one of those two. And this guy got very enthusiastic about how he sorts out his year. I'm so sorry to the man who was saying this. I've no idea what his name
The
is.
man.
The man. I haven't found it since, so I can't acknowledge him, but I just want to acknowledge the energy that he was and the enthusiasm that he was when he was talking about what we're going to talk about today. So, up front, he was saying that he organizes his year in the following three ways. Number one is he has one whole year defining thing, activity, whatever word you want to use for the year. So I think now is a really good time to be talking about this because we sort of hit the 1st of January thinking that we should know what the rest of the year is going to be.
Yeah, and you kind of get like that, oh my God, panic, it's here, New Year's here, what am I doing? What am I doing?
Yeah, what am I going to do with the rest of the year, the rest of my life? But actually, we're moving into winter proper now, and winter's such a great reflective time. So it's a great time to look back on the year you've had, but what's the year going forward? What would you like to be there to be in that year? So what's your one defining thing for 2025 going to be? And then he talked about and I'm sure his friend was called Kevin. I'm sure he calls it something like the Kevin thing or something like that, where Kevin, let's stick with Kevin. Kevin's a great name. Anyone who's a Kevin has got to be a great person, I think. Um, 6 mini adventures in the year. So they're like the way he was talking, this very enthusiastic man was how I think he talked about a weekend where he took his kids off into the snow or something, and they had a mini adventure in the snow. So he's talking 4 days maximum, 6 times a year. So can you imagine 6 mini adventures to look forward to in the year? And you can have your full on holidays as well. But if you know that you're gonna look for these adventures and they're gonna break up the monotony of the year, and he timetables his for the year. He knows when he's going to do them. Doesn't know exactly what he's going to do, but they're there, and he's got that
Mm.
time blocked off. And then the final thing was every quarter a new habit. So then you create 4 new habits every year. Now, I can't remember him saying what his new habits have been or are going to be, but you've seen this as well, haven't you? You saw it a similar time to me. So
Yeah.
it's going to show up again. So look out for him. I don't know who he is, but look out for him because his energy was great. So, Sammy, I'm going to ask you, what did you take away from that when you saw it? What came to you about this whole concept?
Um, well, first of all, I was so glad that you'd actually written it down because it was again one of those things like it was a reel and I was scrolling, which I don't do very often, but it was just kind of like it was gone it was there 1 minute, gone the next sort of thing. And then like later that day or over the next couple of days, I'm like, oh, wish I'd written that down because it's like really it like I really connected with the structure, for want of a better word, of it because it feels like really doable and it feels quite like you and I are always talking to the introverts, hence the name of the podcast. It feels quite doable as an introvert. It's not a lot of go, 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 reach your goals and, hustle, hustle, hustle. And the way like the mini adventures, I've written down when we were talking about it, 6 meaningful experiences. So again, it's not the adventure for the sake of the adventure, like going to this place because that's what everybody on Instagram's doing or whatever it is. It's like, okay, what would be meaningful for me? What do I want to experience? And it might be, I doubt very much it's going off camping in the snow. Um, but it might, what would my version of that be? And like a few years ago, I went car camping around Scotland, and that to me has the same energy for me as like taking your children off into the snow, if that's your thing. Yeah, so I think that's the main thing I got from it is like it'd be easy in inverted commas to bring into reality. Like it doesn't take, I mean, it would take planning, but it doesn't take a lot of hustle.
Yeah.
Which is one word that I, hate with a passion. If something's hustle, I go the complete opposite direction.
I know, it just sounds too energetic. And it's a negative for me that to do that.
Yeah.
So I don't know, it's got that sort of manipulation and bribery type energy to it for me. I'm sure there's a lot of people who think that to hustle is a really good idea. Great, if it works for you. And I think what we want to get across when we do this podcast, the way we live our lives and the way we talk is what works for us. And if there's anything we say and you think, oh, I'm going to try that, if it doesn't work for you, don't do it.
Yeah.
As simple as that. And if it does, carry on. I think one of the things as you're talking there was at New Year, we talk about resolutions. And it's no wonder we don't keep to resolutions because it doesn't feel like there's any adventure in that to me. It doesn't feel like there's anything exciting about it. I often think that when people make resolutions, it's more about punishing themselves.
Yes.
And it's, I will go to the gym every day. Will I? I won't. I know I won't, but if I wanted to try out a gym, that might be one of my adventures. Because gyms have changed. It's not all about booking in, getting your program, working through your program. There's just other things going on out there now. And even things like yoga classes are looking very different these days. Who knew there'd be such a thing as yoga dance? And it's like, ooh, maybe if there was an adventure weekend that was about yoga dance and I'd go and do it. Now, I know how to do yoga. I've done it for years, but I've never done yoga dance. It's like dancing and yoga together. I mean, what a great way to move your body. And I'm like, ooh, I'm going to look into that. But that's one of my possible adventures. And then the new habits thing, if you're looking to change something and you spend 3 months of the year and you link that to the season of the year, maybe that's a way, instead of resolutions, you look at what new habit do you want to cultivate in spring, what new habit do you want to cultivate in summer, etc. And this has really sparked something for me that as I get to the end of the year, I'm like, what am I going to do with next year? What am I going to make next year different to this one? Because the years start to run into each other. And then
I have conversations with people. I'm like, oh, like talking about a memory. This was what, maybe like however many years ago. I'm like, I really have no idea. Because as you say, like the years just kind of like meld into each other. And it's so easy to just get stuck on the treadmill or the hamster wheel, whatever you want to call it, of life. And you just keep doing the same old thing. And that's where I think like this process of one big thing, 6 mini adventures, and then a new habit each quarter will kind of shake that up a bit. Like it makes you think about new things, new activities, new experiences that you can bring into your life. And that's what excites me about it.
Yeah. I think he showed a wall chart in the
I'm
real.
like, where do I get a wall chart? Like,
Yeah,
I
I
need
mean,
one.
are they still a thing? Can you still get them? Because I want to look at 2025 and put some planning in place.
Mm.
And then before we decided to actually record this, because we were getting so excited about it, there's the personal life aspect. But what about business?
Mm.
What one adventure can you take your business on in 2025? What 6 mini adventures can you take your business on in 2025? And what 4 new business habits can you cultivate? And I just thought, that just inspires me so
Mm.
much. And actually, since I'd seen that reel, I'd not been very well the last few weeks. One thing after another is just like, oh, for goodness sake. And I thought, have I had any mini adventures this year? And I thought, I don't know what a mini adventure would look like to me. And then I was just going through things that I've heard about on social media. And I thought, okay, what's going on out there that I could fit in before the end of this year? So I've already been on a sauerkraut making fermentation workshop, couple of hours, mini adventure. Never made sauerkraut before, never chopped up cabbage, massaged it with salt, created brine, shoved it in a jar. Never done that before. I loved it. It was so meditative, chopping my cabbage really finely and then pulverizing it. Like, yes, take that cabbage. And making that, and now it's sat there in my cupboard, and I'm like, oh, in a month's time I could open that and start eating it, because I'm really into my gut health and creating the best gut environment I can.
Mm.
um, and then there's loads of other things that suddenly I've got a whole calendar towards the Christmas that I'm like, wow, I've asked for 6 mini adventures and they're here. So going to Manchester Christmas markets, not done it in years. Are they going to be any good? I don't know. But if I don't go, I won't find out, will I?
Mm.
Also my son's birthday, so we're going out for a meal in Manchester. Haven't done that for such a long time. My daughter's booked us tickets to go to Chatsworth for the Christmas experience there, which is amazing. God, that is such a beautiful place. Can you imagine living somewhere like that? So I go and I can imagine what it's like to live there and have a mini adventure there. What else? Going to see Wicked in the theatre. Not been to the theatre for a long time. And Wicked is coming out in the cinema. They've made a film of it.
All
It's
right.
just like Jonathan Bailey. Oh my God, he's amazing. Ariana Grande. Amazing, and I'm like, there's another mini adventure. Doesn't have to be a whole weekend.
Mm.
These wonderful things that you enjoy to look forward to. There's one more I've got as well. I can't remember it now. Oh, I'm going to a gong bath. Never done a gong bath. Going to a gong bath. And to lie down and have what happen? I don't know. And it's like all these things I've had in my head and I've thought about, and I've just done nothing about them.
Mm.
And there you go.
There's like
6 before Christmas. Brilliant.
yeah, well, you haven't done any for the rest of the year, so you got to get them in.
Yeah, but it feels exciting and I feel energized and enthused about them, but not in a way where I get a sense of dread for the length of time they're going to take up. Because my thing is, I have done in the past, overwhelmed myself in trying to not do too much, but do things that take too much time overall.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to be away for 6 long weekends in a year. That won't work for me. But I can do things in a day, in an evening, for an hour. I can do.
And I think that's what's interesting with when you were saying about your fermentation workshop. It was 2 hours, and that's the thing. And like, obviously, at the beginning of this conversation, we were talking about the man who took his children away for 4 days or whatever, and it could be that long, but it can be 2 hours here. And what also strikes me about this is last year you and I we delivered the Enrich Business Mastermind. And what was one thing that we asked every participant to do each month was an enrichment date with themselves. And this to me is the same sort of thing. It's like, okay, what would really fill my cup up, fill my soul, however you want to describe that, enrich my life? Or if we're looking at it from a business point of view, what would enrich my business? And find those things. And the other thing that I thought was interesting when you were talking then is, if you ask for these things, they will appear before you.
I'm just staggered at how quickly they appeared.
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay, here we go. So yeah, I just as you can tell, I'm very enthused by the whole concept of this. And rather than the New Year's resolution and beating ourselves up when we don't follow through, actually, no, I might have one overarching thing that I'm going to do next year, but I can break that down into 6 things and new habits as well. And it takes that whole like heart sink. Oh God, New Year, I need to have a resolution. Now, actually, what if I look at this as what is my one overarching thing that I'd like to achieve in a year? And how do I break that down and have fun with it?
Yeah.
Then it's a negative and that I'm trying to turn into a positive.
And like you said, with
not going to work.
With New Year's resolutions, there is always, well, certainly I have felt in the past, and heard from others as well, that there is that panic. You wake up on New Year's Day, usually a little bit worse for wear, possibly having drunk and eaten far too much over the last week or two. And there is that kind of sense of, I always think of, what's it called? Bridget Jones's Diary, with the opening entry is like, yeah, I will stop smoking, I will stop drinking, I will eat healthily. And I mean, they're all great goals to have, but I don't think that moment is the time to make them when we're possibly feeling rather bad about ourselves. And also, I like what you're saying about using winter as the reflection time and the time to feel into it, so that we don't feel pressured when the first of the year comes around. Yeah. I like it a lot.
Yeah. I don't know what my overarching thing is for 20. I like the word thing is for 2025. I don't know that yet. I think for my business, I do know personally it will run along the health lines. My health is such that I have to continually tweak and adapt. That's been the same for many, many years now. But yeah, for business, I know that it's going to be around grief and loss, educator courses. Don't know what they look like yet. So I will be spending time up until the new year contemplating those. I mean, do you have any initial thoughts about what you might do?
No, well, as I said before we started recording, my one big thing for the year came to me in a flash of inspiration either yesterday or the day before, and then I didn't write it down and it has disappeared again. So I did have something, and when it came to me, I was like, oh yeah, love that, it's brilliant, I'm so going to do that. And I'm hoping it will return to me, because I can't remember at all what it was.
Yeah, because one of the things you were saying is that you've put your focus very much into creating a new business, all around branding, and you've just been amazing with it. You've really stuck with it. You know your stuff, but you're missing creativity, aren't you? You're missing that more soulful, spiritual aspect, whatever that looks like. And at the minute, you are contemplating whether you keep your allotment or not. Is that where it is? You don't know. So maybe you need to go to the allotment and have a chat with the spirits of your allotment and see what they've got to say to you.
Yeah, and I think have very much been in the realms of the logic and
Mm.
sort of turned my back on everything else since changing from one business to and then creating this new business. But similarly to what you were saying, so last month or the month before, I don't know, September maybe, I was getting this sense of just feeling really bogged down with life and business. And what I realized was missing was the newness, which is what this process kind of invites into life. So all of these new things appeared for me. I mean, to begin with, two books appeared. One that I'd had on my shelf for years and hadn't actually read. And then another one that, again, the reel I was watching or something I was watching, and this book was mentioned. I was like, oh, that sounds great. So one of them was The Enchanted Life by Sharon Blackie, possibly somebody Blackie, who wrote If Women Rose Rooted. So it's that about bringing that fun and enchantment and enrichment, I suppose, is another way of putting it, back into life. And then the other one was Single on Purpose, which is about whether you're single or in relationship, it doesn't really matter, but building that relationship with yourself. So the old adage that if you're in a healthy relationship is when two individuals come together and do life together rather than finding the one who completes you. So it's about, even when you're in relationship, keeping your individual life, so not losing yourself in the other person or in the relationship. And so all of this kind of came together, and things have appeared for me as well. So last week I did my first kickboxing class, and I can just about walk downstairs without it hurting this morning. Because like my body, like I pretty much ignore, my brain is where it's at, and my body, as I'm kind of getting older, is saying to me, like, no, you need to look after me now. And the amount of exercise we do is walking. That's pretty much it, which is great exercise, but my body has been asking for more movement. So it's like, you know what? Let's try this. Let's see if we can actually do it, as in me and my body, and challenge ourselves. And it's new, and it was actually quite fun. And then we had a couple of days in London, little mini adventure for my birthday. So, and similar to what I was saying to you earlier, it's like when you ask for these things, they will show up.
I think the thing is, sometimes we're told we have to be very specific about what we ask for, whereas I never know what specifically I might want to do. I have to work with what I sense. And that's when I saw what this guy was saying, and my whole senses just sparked. And now look at me, 6 mini adventures before Christmas. And I'm just like, wow. I mean, that's great. But I wasn't specifically asking for a gong bath. That wasn't what I said. I was just like, 6 adventures. I just want to, what could I do? And I don't even think I did that. I just tuned into this guy, and I just like, that, whatever that energy is, that, I want that. Not more of it. I want all of it. Bring that on. Let's be having it. And I also think that things that felt like they were adventures, and when you take on new habits and they become habits, they're not even new anymore. It can suddenly, life can just trudge on, and we don't look for the next thing because we're comfortable. We've changed this, and now we're comfortable. And it's not about, for me, being uncomfortable. I don't do uncomfortable. I like to be lush, plush, comfortable. And so I'm always looking for what my like 5-star of anything is. And I might go to a gong bath and never go to another one. It might not suit me. But if I don't go on that adventure first, I won't know, will I? And I think
Yeah.
for some people, the word adventure is like climbing mountains and going to the other side of the world. Great, if that's your idea of an adventure, but it's not mine.
Mm.
It's not what I want to do. But there
Yeah.
are lots of things that I know are out there for me.
Yeah. And when I was looking at this before I came across the man's structure, um, and it really brought me back to a few years ago. So I went through this phase. I don't do it so much anymore, but I went through this phase of picking a word for the year. And there was one year, and I can't remember which year it was, where the word was adventure. And it was, I wasn't trekking the Andes or anything. Um, but it was like this sort of thing, like what new experiences can I bring into my life? And I know I went on a horse riding lesson, and also couldn't walk for a little while after that because hard work on your body horse riding. I car camped at Stonehenge. I went wild swimming. It's not my thing.
I'm not into cold water. I don't care what anybody says about it. It's not for me.
Yeah, tried all these things, and like as you say, some of them I now know are not my thing. Others, maybe I'll do again. Um, and the same with this, like kickboxing. I've signed up for a 6-week beginners course. If I don't want to carry on after that, I won't carry on after that. It was quite funny. I had to dig up my trainers for this thing. I had to buy leggings because I do not own any clothes that would be suitable for working out in. So I had to buy leggings and had to make sure there was no spiders living in my trainers. That's how often I use them.
Yeah, yeah. I think no one would look at you and think that you don't exercise. You're very lucky with your body and your body shape.
It is pure luck. Yeah.
Yeah, it's genetically you've gone the long straw there. You really have, unlike myself.
But I have noticed as I've gotten older, especially with like lockdown, like I ate way too much during lockdown. Like things are changing. So yeah, that's part of why I wanted to and also my body's just asking for more movement at the moment. So I'm also looking at yoga classes and different things just to challenge myself.
No, I get it. I totally get it. So just to remind everyone, what we're talking about today is one big thing for the year, 6 meaningful experiences in a year, and a new habit every quarter. And it's sparked something for us, and we hope it's going to spark something for you. It's just a different way of thinking about New Year and resolutions in a way that I find very positive. We hope that you do too. Cool.
Yes. Are we done?
I was about you took the words right out of my mouth. Are we done? I think
I feel like that was a short and sweet one today.
I know, but I loved it. I hope everyone picks up on our enthusiasm for the way we are going to move into 2025. And
I'm off to buy a wall calendar thing.
Let me know where you get one from, because or buy me one and I'll pay you back, or whatever. Pay you back in Knoop's hot chocolate. Now that was an adventure, wasn't it? Finding that and going there.
Oh yes.
I mean, that's a great adventure. If you've not been to Knoop's anywhere where you live, we've got one here. We're so lucky we've got one in Chester. Go to Knoop's. Hot chocolate cafe, or cold chocolate even. Okay, otherwise we'll get off sidetracked into chocolate, and no, we're not doing that today. So let us know what your one big thing is, what your 6 mini adventures might be, meaningful adventures, and what your first new habit for 2025 might be that you want to challenge yourself with. So until next time, goodbye from...
Bye-bye from me, Sami Blackford.
Sami Blackford, and from me, Denise Oliver, and we'll be back talking to introverts again in a couple of weeks. Bye for now.
Bye.